so in aviation, you always plan for the worst and hope for the best, and especially when you're flying over fields and a lot of terrain that's not heavily populated. If you do need to make an emergency ascent, or descent rather, and an emergency landing, you want to make sure that you're prepared until someone comes and picks you up. So I'm going to review a few things that I always keep with me in the plane to make sure that I'm ready in the event of a disaster. So just going left to right, and hopefully I won't miss anything. Always packing a headlamp is pretty key. These can be grabbed up in Amazon or Walmart for usually around $1. Very inexpensive, runs on inexpensive batteries, and you just put it on your head so it frees up your hands for more important things. A pair of cheap gloves. These are great to be moving things around. You don't really necessarily want to move anything of the wreckage around unless someone's trapped underneath, or if you need to move something without having your hands cut up. Your hands are probably some of the most important items in a disaster, so you want to make sure they're not messed up. So protecting them is key. Some nuts and trail mix that comes kind of as a duh type item. Make sure you have this with you. Make sure if you kind of go into it, if you're hungry one day, that you replenish these things. But great sense of great amount of protein in here, and it'll keep you going. Multi-tool. You don't need a huge survival knife in an event of an actual disaster. In a situation where you do need to use one of these things, most important asset is going to be your pliers. Second would be your knife in there. You can also use those as screwdrivers, as prying tools, so on and so forth. So carry a multi-tool with you at all times and keep it in your bag there. Signaling mirror. You want to make sure that people on the ground are able to see you, and the cheapest, easiest way of doing that is getting a inexpensive signaling mirror. This is bendable, so it doesn't break. It's not made out of glass. It's just a clear, or it's just a film on there. You put your eye through there, and then you spot the plane. And by going like this, rescuers are trained to pick up on signals. So just by having this cheap little flimsy thing in your plane could potentially save your life. Sunglasses. You're going to be looking up, right? So in the air, you're going to be constantly looking up, looking for planes, search vehicles, helicopters, so on and so forth. The sun will burn your eyeballs, so make sure that you're covered and those are protected. It's one of those things that people don't think about. They cover their eyes with their hands. It's not worth it. So get some sunglasses, put them in there from the dollar store. It's cheap enough. Second to what I think is one of the most important items is a lighter. It is difficult to build a fire if you need it. Warmth, if you're out there for an extended period of time, you're trying to catch something, cook something, so on and so forth. So carry a lighter and a backup with you. Cheap Bic lighters will save your life, keep you warm, keep you fed. Sweater, always keep some type of extra clothing with you. This might make the difference between you freezing at night and not. Plus, the long sleeves will add protection if you're crawling through forest, or if you're trying to crawl through and help somebody out. You can rip these up, so on and so forth. The uses for long sleeve, especially sweaters, 100% cotton preferably, is great. This is a Life Essentials emergency pack. This is pretty cool because it gives you 3 days worth of food and water rations here. You don't need anything this fancy. However, if you do keep some food with you, make sure it is high energy protein bars. You don't want anything with just copious amounts of sugar that you're going to burn off quickly and stay hungry. So protein is the key to that, and water. Make sure you have water. Water is probably the most important thing that you can carry when you're talking about food. So like I said, 3 days of water with this. It comes in a cool little pack. When you open this up, it has energy bars in it. It is part of the Life Pack package that I'll show you in just a second, but you don't need anything this fancy. Just basically, I'll show you either bottled water or Lifestraw, and then high energy protein bars, right? A towel. Believe it or not, towels are extremely useful. Somebody's injured, it stops blood, 100% cotton. You don't want this thing burning up on you, so keep it cotton. Tie off a wound. Having a towel is extremely useful. All right. I keep this guy with me, blankets. Just keep at least one blanket with you. Again, it will keep you warm during the night. It's something to cover, and also if you need to cut it up for other various things. So keep a blanket with you. This little blanket curls up to almost nothing, and having that extra warmth is definitely important. If someone is injured, always carry gloves with you just to make sure that you're covered. And then also these can be blown up, they can carry water, and there's quite a few other uses for them. So having gloves with you is pretty important. I just keep 1 or 2 sets in the bag. They scrunch up to almost nothing, so pretty important to have. Little power bank charger. Pretty decent to have if you have a cell phone, need to recharge it. A lot of the times, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you won't get cell phone service, but just in case, if you do, you can make sure that that's plugged up. So carry one of these guys with you and make sure that it is charged. And as you can see, mine needs to be charged. Lifestraw. Instead of carrying heavy amounts of water with you, it doesn't add a lot of weight, but if you're packing this around, carrying water with you is a pain. So it burns up energy that you don't need to burn up. Having a Lifestraw, these things are great because you open up the package, you can suck from just basically anything that's around you, at least any natural water sources, and you won't get sick, so you don't have to boil water or anything to that effect. Having one of these will save your life. Flashlight. This is a cool flashlight because it charges both by solar power and then also the winding tool here. It will literally last forever. This way you can signal. As you can see, it's got the signal function and then also the 2 levels of brightness. So you'll always have a flashlight and it will never be dead because all you have to do is either leave it in the sun or charge it up by winding. Glow sticks are pretty important, especially if you're with multiple members. And the reason I say that is when you crack these, you can tie them to your neck so you can easily spot out who's with you and where they are. Believe it or not, in some situations, especially snow or something to that effect, if someone were to wander off, they're easily spotted with these guys there, so make sure you have them. This is not a necessity, but it's something that I like to have with me, a little roll of toilet paper because it can be easily condensed, easily packed. Make sure you put it in one of these little Ziploc bags to stay dry. It's just one of those creature comforts where in the middle of nowhere when you are trying to survive, having that little bit of comfort can sometimes carry you through to your last day. A little notebook, you want to write down stuff, especially maps, what's around you, what's going on. Keep a little log with you. This is just a cool little book that comes along with the pack. Believe it or not, this comes in handy, and then also if worse comes to worse, you can use these pages as fire starters. So if you are looking for something to start a fire and you've got nothing but wet leaves around you which will not ignite, you can use these little pieces of paper and they will get you through. Very basic first aid kit. You're not going to need a trauma kit for this. It's just going to be too heavy. And just the essentials, having alcohol swabs, some bandages, maybe some patches to stop bleeding. Pretty important. You don't need a lot because if anything's too bad, you're going to make sure to tie it off. So just have something to clean wounds. Infections are the #1 killer, so you definitely want to get those down by having these alcohol or other swabs to disinfect. These 2 will keep you safe for sure. The emergency survival pouch. This is actually as big as a sleeping bag when you unroll it. And especially if you've got temperatures that are very cold, you want to make sure to stay warm. And you're going to be sleeping on the ground 9 times out of 10 if you get in this type of situation because the plane is going to be totaled. So #1, try to stay off the ground. #2, either way, make sure you use one of these emergency sleeping bags. They're extremely inexpensive and they will help. These open up just like a regular sleeping bag. You slip in there and then you try to keep this area closed as much as possible to retain the heat. This with the blanket will keep you warm. Make sure that this is towards your body. This is the inside of whatever you're going to be wrapped in. So towel would go outside, this will go inside, and then of course then you go into that. Rain poncho, you want to stay dry. This will also help retain heat. If you put this around you, probably underneath your clothes, the closer to your body, the better. Think of the bags that they put chicken in. So this will keep you warm, this will keep you dry. Emergency whistle, you want to be able to signal after a period of time. Your voice is going to become hoarse. All types of issues here. This security whistle will ensure that you have a voice if somebody's in the vicinity, and this is extremely loud. These safety whistles are made to be extremely loud so rescuers can hear you. You want to make sure to also have a dongle with you. Just throw it in your backpack or your bag there that you're carrying the rest of your supplies in. That way you can make sure you can be able to charge your phone and using the little power supply there. The majority of this stuff, if you want to get kind of a commercialized option for this, or solution rather, is to get one of these safety cross backpacks. It has areas for everything. Most of the stuff that I showed you over there actually came from this backpack. The food and water goes right in there. All your medical supplies and lights and all that type of jazz. I'll provide links below so you can check this out. You don't need anything particularly like this. However, if you're concerned about safety, worried about safety, you want to make sure that you have the stuff on hand that you need to, this might be the easiest solution for you. The cool thing about this bag though is that if you do have to be mobile for some reason, once you utilize the supplies that are in these wings, these actually have a zipper that you can unzip and lighten the load. Weight is not your friend in these type of situations, so the more you can light your load without putting yourself in a tough spot, the better. Having this in one little bag or backpack or something to that effect will also allow you to use this in your vehicle. A lot of the times we're driving more than flying, so whenever I fly, I just take this out of the car, throw it in the plane back in the back there, and I'm good to go. So that's pretty much it. By all means, I appreciate everybody's help and support. The Patreon is great. Thanks for visiting. I want to make sure that everybody knows that I've got the little sticker giveaway going on, so make sure you check that video. I'll put it below. And thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there. See ya.